Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back and watching. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Staying safe, take care of yourselves, all those kind of things. In this video, I was playing around in Luminar 4 yesterday, which is really not an uncommon thing for me. And I was editing photos, and I wasn't really trying to do speed editing. I don't recommend go edit photos and be really fast about it, like hurry, hurry, hurry. I don't really advocate that. I think you should take your time, do whatever it is you want to do. But I was kind of moving fast, and then I realized I edited about 30 photos yesterday, and I did them all pretty rapidly, and I did most of them with just a handful, really, of filters or tools. And I felt like I was getting great results without a whole lot of effort and without a whole lot of complication. And honestly, I didn't even use any of the advanced tools. It was quite simple, and I just thought I'd share this because I'm sitting here all the time making tutorials, and I add layers, and I do masking, and I do a lot of these, complicated things, but it didn't have to be complicated. Now, it does depend on the photo, but I've got some several photos here. I'm going to try to go through quickly and show you kind of how I approach the editing of them with just a few simple tools. Let's get going. So here I am. This is just some graffiti in the east side of London. Favorite city and one of my favorite subjects. I started on the light tool, right? So I might cool this off a tiny bit, give it a little bit of contrast, pull down the highlights, pull up the shadows, and then I would go to AI Enhance, give that a little bit of a bump. I just recommend being careful because, as you can see there, it does more than just change the light. I think a lot of people think of it as, hey, I'll use that to brighten the photo. And by the way, I do that too. But it does contrast, it does color pop, saturation, things like that. So just be careful you don't overdo it. This one could use some structure. I will totally give that some structure. Crunch it up a little bit, and then I'll go to color. And maybe I want to get a little bit more vibrant, but maybe there's too much red. So in the lower advanced settings, make sure you click on red and then just pull that saturation down. I'm gonna do the same with orange. It's a little intense there in some of those bricks. And there you go. I mean, I spent, 15 seconds on that photo. There it is before and after. So a quick slide can show you how quickly I was able to adjust that photo. Let me get another one and pop into that example. Okay, here it is, another raw file. All these photos are from London, by the way. I was in that folder yesterday for my London trip a little over a year ago. I'm back in the light tool, and by the way, I cropped this and straightened it before I started editing it for you. In the light tool, I'm pretty much doing the same things a lot of the time. These are going to come down a lot. One of the nice things about the light tool is you have these advanced settings. So if you want to pull the whites down a little bit or pull the blacks, that sort of thing, you can, as you can see, make a big impact on the photo. And I've already done quite a bit just from where I started. But of course, I'm not finished. I'm going to use some of these same tools. And Enhance may come in here and come in handy. Again, it gives you a nice little bit of brightening, but just be careful because it does other things. Internal or interior kind of underground, this is the tube, so structure for sure. And then color, once again, pop over here. I think that red's getting a little happy, so I'm going to pull that back a little bit. And then there is a wildcard tool, and that is vignette. I love vignette on things like this because I'm going to crank that vignette and make it a little bit tighter. But then I've got inner light because I want to kind of pop that light in the center. And once again, I mean, quickly I've gone from that photo to that photo. And now that I look at it, I think it's a little bit too cool. I'm going to go back up here to temperature and give it a tiny bit of warmth. I don't want to make it too gray, but I don't want it too warm. Maybe a little bit like that. And I actually don't think it's straight. I think it's still a little bit crooked. I'm terrible at that. I think my head is naturally just off kilter. My photos are always crooked. I post them sometimes, and I look at it later, a day later, a month later, a year later, I see it, and I'm like, oh, God, what was I thinking? So there's another example. Again, light, AI Enhance, AI Structure, color. So much power. Let's do another one. And here I'm trying to change conditions because I don't want it to all just be, oh, it's easy, Jim, because you just brighten the photo and then you added some structure because they're outdoor or interior shots, and that's what you got to do. Here's an outdoor shot in lower light, kind of blue hour, and I'm going to do similar things. I'm going to go ahead and bump that contrast, pull down those highlights a fair amount, and then also increase the shadows. Here I'm going to do AI Enhance and get just a little bit of that. As you can see, it pops the photo nicely. I love that tool. AI Structure, I think, does a really good, intelligent job. By the way, AI and Structure, I can't even say it, AI Structure is human aware. So it's going to add some a little bit of crunch to the scene, but it's not going to crunch up their skin. I've used it on portraits, things like that. It works incredibly well. Here, color, I think the blue, I'm going to take the luminance of the blue down a little bit. That's going to darken some of those areas. And then maybe take the saturation down a little bit. I don't want it to be too blue. And then again, my wildcard filter is the vignette. And in this case, the inner light is fantastic. I'm going to choose subject. I'm going to put it on this couple. I feel a little voyeuristic taking photos like this, but I was kind of lining up and then they started doing a selfie. And I'm like, hey man, it's a public place. I'm taking photos. I'm not taking photos of you, nice couple. I'm taking photos of the street and you happen to be in it. And by the way, if these people ever find this photo, I'd happily send it to them. Anyway, there it is with my wildcard vignette. I might pull that back a little bit on the amount, and I tend to go less round and higher on feathering when I use vignette. It makes a smoother transition, less abrupt. I think it looks better that way. But let's do another comparison. Here we go. There's before and there's after, and the sliding scale thing, sliding window. I don't even know what you call it, but the sliding before and after. Massive difference. 4 tools, well 5 if you count vignette, but really, again, all on the Essentials tab. Quick, easy to use, and I've got one more, and hey, that might even be straight. I love it when things are straight. So again, I'm going into the light tool, and I'm kind of going fast with this because I'm showing you the same tools on 4 different photos, so I don't want to drag it out, so to speak. This one's interesting because I got quite a bit of color work to do, but that's okay. I'm going to bump up the contrast, pull down the highlights because of that ceiling, pull up the shadows. Once again, AI enhance. Now again, just keep that in mind. You can tell, let me show you the before and after. There's before and after. For me, it's popped the contrast a little bit, and I think it's popping the color, especially that walkway. That stone is really picking up kind of a purple color. There it is, before and after. It is brighter, which AI Enhanced does a good job of, but again, just be careful with it is all I'm saying. Structure, you bet, absolutely. I'm going to apply AI structure here. I think it needs it. And color, I normally would go in and increase vibrance. I recommend experimenting sometimes with remove color cast. It may or may not help. In this case, it kind of darkens a photo, but I kind of like what it does. It gives a little bit of a green tint almost to the top of the that ceiling. Like I don't want to go that high, but I like a little bit of that, so maybe a tiny bit. But then I got the purple here. I'm going to take the saturation down. I don't want too much of that purple. And I'm going to give the luminance an increase, which will help brighten that. The orange, and I'm just kind of riffing here. I'm just kind of walking through what I do as I do it. The orange is a little bit much, so I'm going to pull that saturation down. Also maybe bring up the brightness of it. And let me show you what the color tool has done for me here. There's before, a little oversaturated, a little over yellowy orange, a little overly purple, and after a little bit less. I actually might take some of that blue saturation down. There's a lot of that in the walkway as well. I actually think that looks better. That was probably doing a better job than the purple was. But now let me show you the color. There it is before and after. I think those are, I just knocked my mic. Those are a bit more realistic looking colors, I think. And that's why color is one of the 4 that I totally recommend using all the time, really, and that's because you have these 8 individual colors that you can go in and adjust the hue, the saturation, and the luminance. It really gives you a lot of control over the photo, and I can't really help myself. I kind of want to add a vignette here simply because it just fits this kind of shot so well. I'm going to choose a little bit lower, something like that, and I like the look of that. Maybe pull that back a little bit. Maybe it's a little too much. Again, I'm kind of going fast. I'm not trying to tell you that you should speed edit your photos. You should do whatever it is you want to do because it's your photo. Take your time, hurry up, whatever suits your workflow, the amount of time that you have, whatever you want to accomplish. I just wanted to share the fact that if you don't count vignette really, because that's kind of, it doesn't work on every photo, but I use it a fair amount. But between light, AI Enhance, AI Structure, and color, you have so much control over your photo. And by the way, in the light tool, I didn't even talk about everything that you can do with the tone curve. I've done videos about it before. I've done videos where I just edit the photo with the tone curve. At least I think I have. I've definitely edited photos just with the tone curve, and that's super powerful. It gives you massive control over light, contrast, and color, which, by the way, there's light, and contrast and color, frankly. AI Enhance hits light, contrast, color. Color hits color. Structure is kind of like details and crunchiness. But that's why those four do so much, because they give you control over all the major elements of a photo: light, detail, color. So that's why I approach it that way. And those are the four tools that I find myself using time and time again when I'm kind of, bopping through edits, and I just kind of get in a groove, and I'm just like boom, 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 boom. And I just kind of, I went through 30 something photos yesterday. That's how a lot of them were using these four filters, and some of them have vignette. And to be honest, there are other times when I say, hey, you know what? Maybe I need a little golden hour, and I'll just come pop over here and do that. That actually looks kind of cool, except the lights there along the area where the signs are just getting way too orange. So I'm going to skip it here. But there are definitely other things to do. I'm not trying to restrict your movement in the app. Again, you should do what you want to do. I just want to point out that you can do a whole lot just with those four, and that keeps you on the Essentials tab, which doesn't even get into some of the fancy and artistic and moody stuff, and you don't always need it. I use it a lot because I like to, but I just want to, especially if you're newer to Luminar or photo editing, spend as much time as you want. Spend a lot of time, in fact, on the Essentials tab. That's why it's called Essentials. You can do so much with it, make a lot of progress and a lot of impact on your photos in just a couple of minutes, really. So that was it, my friends. Just wanted to share some thoughts and some images. That was four, I'll call them speed edits, but again, I don't want to imply that you need or should hurry. But four speed edits in Luminar, really using four basic tools. It's quick, it's easy, it's fun, and it's powerful. Thanks for watching, my friends. I'll see you really soon. Take care of yourselves out there, and adios.